Well, I don't know how you feel about this, but 17,000 patch applied is like realism overhaul for real. What up, you guys? WOLVSAid the engineer is here, and welcome to realism overhaul. If you look at your back, ladies and gentlemen, no, that's not Kerbin, that's indeed planet Earth. So let's get it rolling, and yeah. So we'll start a new series. It's gonna be science, and we're gonna call it Let's Do It! Alright, so into business right away. We have a small bug here. It's called KSP add-on version checker. So we will be using live support as well from DAC, and the community tech tree, which is huge, but it had a load of surprises for us, including some station science, so we can actually build a space station and supply it with a lot of stuff, to be honest. I'm using procedural part. Let me explain that in the VAB. Alright, so there we are in the VAB, and oh, look at the pod. I'm using also the revamped something, and yeah, it's pretty much awesome. So the pod looks different and almost everything else looks different. We got piston engine, and this is supported of course by advanced jet engine, which is awesome. This is like 300 horsepower. We're gonna give this a go, but that's gonna go for later. What I wanted to show you is the procedural part. For example, this is a solid rocket motor, so when we click on it, we can pretty much change all the settings. So for example, this is the biggest size, but we can change the shape into cone shape, pitted cylinder, or a smooth cone. It's pretty much small, so we're gonna go with the cylinder shape. And of course we have a texture. Ooh, German. I'm sticking with this one. We can change in the future, if we unlock the tech, we can change the type of the engine for the solid rocket motor, and of course we can make it bigger. So this is pretty much the biggest we can do. It's gonna have a burn time of, let's say, 12 seconds. Let's update the fuel. Yep. Alright, so that being said, this is now giving us approximately 40 kiloton of thrust with a burn time, let's say 1 second, 4 seconds. So it's gonna give us 93. Basically, what I mean is, depends on what you change here, the thrust would be changed because you're gonna burn more fuel. So let's get rid of this and show you something else. Next, we got a decoupler. Also, this is procedural, so we can change the diameter, the impulse, how strong it's gonna decouple, sizes, almost everything. Alright, also same applies for the life support. So we got a life support model. Again, it's procedural, so you will have less parts, but more creative way of building. Same applies for battery. This is a battery, procedural battery. Since I'm using realism overhaul, as you can see, the amount sounds crazy, but it is real, because you will have to survive 24 hours without the sun. If ever, a station science. Okay, so with no further ado, let me show you the mod. We're gonna be using Science X to have a checklist and a library of the science we collected. Advanced jet engine for a static, let's call it a realism for the turbojet, turbofan, air breathing rocket, propellant, almost everything else has a static, a specific impulse. So it's gonna change, depends on the air pressure, your speed, and temperature, which hopefully will be added in the future. B9 procedural wings, so same applies for the part, but for this one it's gonna be procedural wings, so no more slapping parts together to make a delta wing. You can just make it out of one part. Community resources pack, community resource pack, community tech tree, deadly re-entry. For extra science, we're gonna be using D-Magic orbital science and station science over here. Where is it? Station science, yes. For airplane part, I'm gonna be using stock expansion from LAC, which I do love for hypersonic airplane. We have LAC life support and realism overhaul config, so it's gonna be good. Trajectories, and USI colonization core Vents part revamped. This is one of the most awesome mod. And of course, the whole package comes with realism overhaul from real solar system, real fuel, real plump, almost everything else. Now, let's get it rolling. Okay, so apparently we are getting attacked by the Kraken, and a slight thing I want to do here, I want to disallow the structural failure, so if we got a high dynamic pressure, things won't go crazy. Okay, so obviously we are at the starter tech, and what I'm gonna propose gonna sound crazy, but let's go Tech 0 to orbit. So I've created a small ship. Well, it's just a probe on top of a lot of boosters. So this is, well, I called it early tech. It's basically a probe with an antenna. I mean, there is nothing here. And few boosters. So we got approximately 9,000 to 10,000 delta V. And to be more or less specific, that's more than enough to actually reach the orbit. So let's launch this one and see if it's gonna make it. Alright, there we are on the launch pads, and early tech launching in 3, 2, main engine ignition, launch. Okay, well, it actually worked. The engine overheating a little bit, but everything seems to be alright. Now, this was like the third trial, and to be more or less specific, alright, so with the power of editing, you don't have to bother seeing this, as you can see it 4 times the speed. Now, I was trying to kind of control this within ascent guidance. I just realized that we don't have reaction wheels, which means we have no control over the rocket, especially if it starts spinning. And it goes without saying, the atmosphere here in planet Earth is 130 kilometers, so to achieve an orbit, we need to go at least 130 kilometers above the ground with an approximate speed of 8,000 meters per second delta V. Now, of course, we do have that. We have more than enough. And not to spoil it on you or anything, but I actually did it. I mean, it's not really overhauled or anything, but for a small probe, you definitely can make it. As you can see, those engines are performing very well because we're using real fuel, so only a small amount of fuel can get us into orbit, and we're using a rather small ship. We only have the probe core, Bontech, and the small antenna. So right now we are reaching a high orbit. Our velocity is almost 6,000 meters per second delta V, and we are coasting through the atmosphere. Now, don't mind me here, I think I have done a slight mistake, so let's see it together, shall we? Oops. Okay, so we did achieve an orbit, and by mistake I turned off the engine. It's very risky, very unstable. Oh. No ignition remaining. Yep, so accidentally I turned off the engine, and we are using real plump, so there is no more igniters. Okay, so that's it for this one. Let's go back to the VIP and collect some science. We have made it indeed. Okay, so time to get serious and get some science out of this. So we got here Jebediah Kerman, collected a crew report, and we got some mystery goo. The goo doesn't seem to be doing much right now. Of course, lazy. I love the new texture on this. The revamp is like awesome. Alright, so we got more science than we actually need for the first stage. Obviously, we're not gonna go crazy, but as much as we can collect, it will be better. There are some experiments, and yep. Alright, so let's board and recover the vessel. We got some science back. Now it's time to maybe experiment a little bit in the R&D center. So we got 21 points, and we got Jebediah Kerman back in one piece. I mean, come on. So next stop is, oh my god, a lot of parts. So the most important part is, of course, the Science Junior and the, well, we have another mystery goo and pretty much crew carrier. Okay, so we might build an airplane. The first things first, let's research this one, and we got some more for a parachute, which will be used as, well, a balloon. Or maybe something to slow us down. Okay, so on the quest of collecting even more and more science, we got, well, the future shape of an airplane, which I have no idea how I'm gonna work it through, but I wanna try. If we turn on the engine, it didn't work. Of course, because we did not have fuel, so we need if gas. But meanwhile, let's collect some science. Delicious, delicious indeed. Alright, so with this, we could just unlock the next future part and build a balloon. But I'm afraid I'm out of time for this episode. Guys, if you like today's episode, don't forget to hit that like button and let me know in the comment below what should we do next. Captain Jebediah Kerman reporting live, and until next time, stay tuned.